This is Zach Clark, Development and Leadership Coaching. One of the things that we're asked to do quite frequently, and I just love being involved in these projects, is strategic planning for ministry organizations. We work with a lot of Christian schools, a lot of ministries, and they call upon us to help them with strategic planning. And one of the things that I try to really help people see before getting started is that there are really four big landmines for leaders involved in strategic planning in their ministries. And I want to share those with you today. They're rather simple to understand. You may have actually seen these at work, but and there may be a lot more problems and challenges that can go along with strategic planning, but there are really four big landmines that I have seen do significant damage to the ministry or to the leadership in trying to move things forward in a ministry organization. So I want to share those with you. Number one landmine is the idea that a strategic plan is just this big pile of amazing ideas. And so what we need to do is put all these big amazing ideas on this plan, and we come out with a strategic plan. And there's this huge landmine that often happens, and that is you end up with a plan that's written down, and it's this pile of unbelievable big ideas and projects that absolutely no one believes in, except for the leader, the planning committee, maybe the board, but generally speaking, everyone else that's being asked to be involved in some way, whether it's staff or giving or just the broader outside community, they just don't believe it's possible. People don't think it's doable. It's a huge landmine because the plan then has no credibility, and the plan is worth nothing if people are not actually working. It's just paper. It's just something that's written down. The real work is in executing that plan. So people do have to believe it's doable. It has to stretch them, but they have to believe it is doable. And a big landmine to avoid. The second one is something that I'm sure that you've never been guilty of, but we do see this a lot, and it's something that a lot of times people aren't aware of. And that is where the leader, the director, the organizational head, and or the board are constantly saying no to the ideas that surface. Even though they may not use that word no, there's this sense of, hey, here's a thought, let's try this. And someone close to the leader or the leader himself or the board's like, nah, we've tried that, not going to go there. There's this constant, but here we've already done this, here we tried that, no, we shouldn't do that right now, no, we went. Instead of listening and engaging people, and then recognizing the responsibility of leadership is to make good decisions moving forward. So there's a way to do that without constantly pushing back and saying no to everyone that's got a good idea. Big landmine. Your best friends will not tell you when you're doing this, I've noticed. So really try to self-lead and catch yourself if you're putting in place a culture where there's this constant no. Have a bias toward yes, we will listen. Yes, we will consider that. Yes, that's great input. That doesn't mean you're necessarily promising to implement it. Third big landmine is that the process actually is a good one and is involving the right people, but somewhere along the way it takes a completely wrong turn and heads in exactly the wrong direction. People go change crazy. And it's just change this, redo this, redesign this, and they just head completely the wrong direction. It gets away from the leadership of the organization, and what happens is you end up with a plan that's changing so many things that the ministry's really lost sight of what should never change. There are things about your ministry that should never, ever change. So you don't want to go change crazy. You want to change what's appropriate to change. To be effective in pursuing your vision. But there are things that should never change, and a good strategic plan holds to those and makes those very clear, even as people are involved in the process. Last big landmine is the worst one, I think, and that is where you have people involved, you have a really solid process, you have the right structure for a document, but it's a total and complete waste of time. The whole experience is a total waste of time. Because people deep down know none of this is going to happen. In a couple of months, we're back to business as usual, status quo. So we're going to go through the motions, we're going to go through this process, we're going to express our opinion, but in a couple of months, we know nothing's really going to change. That's a travesty, and that is a huge landmine because your culture begins to get really good at going through the motions and ending up with a completed plan and document, but deep down, everyone knows nothing's going to happen. Unfortunately, we see this one a lot. It's a big landmine, and it's really hard to overcome. I've seen ministries literally have 3, 4, 5-year plans in succession over periods of 10, 15, 20 years where they have developed an organizational culture of we talk, but we never do. When it comes down to actually moving forward, we don't do it. Huge landmine, weakens the ministry over time, and unfortunately everything looks okay, but there's this constant sense of why aren't we moving forward? So I appreciate the opportunity to share those big landmines with you. Avoid them like the plague. Knowing about them will really help you watch out and help people go through a strategic planning process that really gets results for your ministry. Thank you.